Dude, and he's such a nice guy. We actually got to just do a call-in interview with Timmy Williams.
Enjoy.
Do you ever wish that your brain was detachable?
Welcome to the Yellow City Comedy Podcast.
I left this flame burning in my gut late last night. When I woke up.
For the listeners out there, this is Timmy Williams, Whitest Kids U Know. Go check them out on YouTube. They started on Fuse. They went to IFC after a little while. I think after their first season. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
I've tried to do my homework.
Well, it sounds like you did. You even know the name of the first channel, which is a one-up on a lot of people. So there you go.
I remember watching it on Fuse.
Cool. I remember making it on Fuse, so there you go.
Well, dude, yeah, we kind of share a memory in a weird way.
Sure.
But, yeah, man, so what made you want to do, sketch comedy or anything like that? Was it just something that,
I never had a big plan to do sketch comedy. I'm from Watertown, South Dakota. That's where I live again. And, I'm back here now. And in high school and middle school, I did this thing called Odyssey of the Mind, which is like an after-school creativity program, and a lot of that stuff involved writing sketches. So I kind of liked that, but I never really explored it much beyond that. And then I moved to New York to study screenwriting, and I just happened to live in a building where Trevor and Sam and Zach lived. They, in the same apartment building, basically.
Wow.
Like a college dorm. Yeah, and they had met the year before and started the group, so the group was already going. And I met them literally on September 11th, 2001.
Oh,
so
wow.
I definitely fell into it.
Man, well,
What a crazy amount of coincidence.
Yeah, what are the odds of that, man? That's insane.
Yeah, I don't know. So, and then, we just kind of became friends after that. Sam just happened to live in my hall, on the same hall as me, across the hall. And they had been hanging out at the next door neighbor girls because she had a view of what was going down, the World Trade Center and everything.
Oh my
so
God.
they were kind of milling around the hallway, and I was in the room next door. My room was full of smoke, so I hung out in the hallway too, and I met them. And then a couple months later, they asked me to join the troupe. And then a year later or something, we met Darren, and then there had been a bunch of other people in the group, so those people kind of didn't really want to continue, so we kind of pared it down to just the five of us, and there you go. So.
Man, that is insane. That's a really, it's a terrible thing, but that's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a crazy...
That's everything in my life since then has been affected by being in Whitest Kids. So 9/11 literally changed the course of my entire life. So
That is
it's
insane.
kind of crazy.
Yeah, and in a different way than it did for most people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. In a positive way, which makes it thinking about it a very weird thing. But
Right.
That must be a little weird. I graduated high school the day of the Boston bombing, though, so I kind of...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kind of know how you feel.
I guess everyone kind of has a weird story like that. I moved back from...
Yeah, that stuff ties in.
I moved back to Amarillo from Denver 2 days before the Batman shooting. It's just... Or I didn't have tickets.
You had tickets for that movie?
No, we were going to get tickets. I got into a fight with my roommate and ended up just saying, fuck it, I'll move back. And then the people I was going with decided to go, but they weren't in that theater. I guess, they were thinking, if I did pick up the tickets in that amount of time, when I wanted to. I don't know. I just, it's so fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very easy to, somehow be involved with that. I have some friends, even here in my small town, I have two friends that were going on their honeymoon to France, and they were in the air when that, coordinated attack happened last winter, you know?
Wow. Jesus,
all the
man.
shootings in Paris. So yeah, they landed. They got in the plane and wherever they boarded, New York City, and everything was fine. They landed and it was oh shit, so,
That's insane. I always think about that. I'm glad I came back instead of being screw it and going to the movie.
Yeah, you never know what could have happened for sure.
Yeah.
So was that
it's
the
weird
first
how things
time...
like that happen.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What were we gonna say?
I was gonna ask, is that the first time that you met the guys that day?
I had seen Sam and possibly Trevor in an elevator a couple days before that, but that was the first time I talked to or met any of them really. So yeah, I only remember that I saw Sam before because he's a memorable looking person, and he was wearing like a sea captain hat or something like that. So that sticks out in my brain. But it was like probably the week before, because 9/11 was on a Tuesday, so probably the week before that I kind of remember seeing him around. So. But yeah, I had made one or two other friends, but I had just moved there from South Dakota, so they were really my first friends there too. So.
That's amazing. At that point in time, had you like started doing stand-up comedy or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. No, I wanted to write screenplays, and I knew that I liked being kind of. I didn't even necessarily want to do comedy, but I knew I liked being clever and kind of witty. So, when I kind of started hanging out with them more, and then I wrote a really dumb sketch. And then they asked me to kind of be in the troupe, and we performed the sketch, and it wasn't that good. But after that, everything kind of clicked, and I just kept performing with them. So
is that one of the sketches that aired in the show?
No. It was done. It was written and done once, many years before we were even on the show, and it was some offensive kind of thing about jihad and stuff because it was written, amongst all the 9/11 paranoia.
Yeah,
so
right.
It probably is super politically incorrect if I were to revisit it today. So
that wasn't even a thing back then. So.
Well, right. I mean, it has been for a long time. People like to talk about it more right now, but I think right then, it was a sketch about. Okay, so it was if we're gonna get into it, let's get into it. So it was a sketch about terrorists that had infiltrated a deli in Brooklyn and were screwing up sandwich orders on purpose as part of a jihad. And I don't know if it's necessarily racist or offensive, but it kind of, thinking about it now, feels a little dirty. And I think at the time we walked someone told me we walked a guy in a head wrap or something. I don't know if that means that there was a Muslim dude there and got offended or what, but anyways.
That's amazing.
So, it's just not necessarily something I would ever revisit. But, there are lots and lots of sketches we did back in the day that we wouldn't even speak about anymore. Some of those other guys would probably be mortified that I told you this much,
Right.
That would be a perfect sketch.
It takes a long time. You got to write a lot of stuff before you get to a point where anyone would read it and want to put it on TV.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, in that aspect, do you think that there's are there lines in comedy, when you're writing stuff like that? I mean, I know if you're writing for a network, clearly you have to, there's guidelines, but do you think there's anything that you shouldn't make fun of?
No. No, not at all. I think everything deserves to be made fun of. I think you need to be careful with the angle at all times, so you're not just making fun of people just to make fun of them or taking them while they're down.
So,
but we never really had any topics that we felt were off limits. And if you watch our sketches, I think if you see some, jokes that are about racism or homophobia or, rape or something like that, hard subjects, a lot of times when we have characters in that talk about that or are doing those things, we make it for sure clear that they are the asshole.
Yeah, so basically
they're the idiot.
So basically, as long as they're well written, you're good. You can pretty much say anything.
I think so, and I'm not trying to toot our own horn and say everything was well written. I'm sure if I looked back, it's hard to remember every sketch, but I'm sure there's topics we tried to tackle that we didn't do so well that probably did piss people off, So, I mean, that one, if we had gone further with that sketch that I just told you about, it would have made lots of people mad. So, I'm sure we didn't always do it perfectly, but that is, in my mind, what you need to do is, tackle it with a good enough angle that people kind of know what you're trying to say and,
right.
Don't misinterpret it as just being hate speech.
I think one of my favorite sketches, one of the ones that sticks out the deepest with me, is when they're in the woods and they're hunting and they accidentally shoot that guy, and they have that whole conversation. That one, I mean, that killed me. I was in tears.
No pun intended. That is a super dark sketch, and it's one we actually used to do on stage, and I forget exactly how we did it on stage, but I know we did it a couple times on stage. But yeah, that one was definitely super dark, and I think it's still one of. I haven't talked to Trevor or read an interview with him in a while, but I know that for a while was one of his favorites just because of how fucking dark it is.
I love that one. I love that one.
Death is a fun theme, So yeah. Yeah, thanks. I like that one too. It's very scary.
I've seen just about every sketch there is, other than most, or I guess some of season 5, because it's not available on the Whitest Kids U Know YouTube. But I was able to find it elsewhere in clips, so I could get the sketches themselves, but not arranged in an episode, which kind of stunk, because I appreciate the way you guys laid it out.
Right. We did try and... I don't know. I wasn't as involved with the laying out of the episodes. So you get too much into the background, everyone had different titles and stuff, so I didn't really edit so much, Sometimes I was in there, but I never really had any input or anything. But yeah, but I do know how the process went. Yeah, you want to make sure that every episode is strong, and sometimes there might be an overarching theme, but probably not. But just making sure that no sketches in one episode repeat themselves, or you don't want to have every World War II sketch in one episode, for instance. So it's all about kind of knowing how to space it out and kind of feel the whole rhythm of a whole 10-episode season and a rhythm within the episode of the 4 or 5 sketches that are going to be in there. So.
Just so I'm trying to squeeze some advice out of you. Do you think that knowledge right there helped you, nowadays, be able to put together a stand-up comedy a bit? Kind of just knowing the layout?
And, stand-up is a different animal, but I do think the rhythm is important, and you want to, I'm still not all the way... I'm still not great at it. I mean, maybe I don't know. I'm also hard on myself, but I'm still learning a lot.
I think everybody's the harshest critic.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm still working out which one of these things should I do to end on a big laugh, and how should I do things in the middle and the starting, But yeah, you definitely have to think of the rhythm. As far as not want to do content, things all about the same subject, that can be different, because sometimes you'll see a good stand-up do 15 or 20 minutes or an hour, and then think about it later and realize, oh, they only talked about 4 subjects in that hour. You know, so with stand-up, it's kind of easier in a way to mine a subject for a longer amount of time, as long as you're filling with jokes and maybe having micro subjects within that subject that you're hopping around to,
Yeah, and kind of just keep up a theme for a while.
Exactly.
If you can keep the theme up.
Well, and I like that terminology, mining the joke. I don't think I've actually heard that anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, and that's something I don't even consider myself to be great at. I've been getting better at it, I think, the last couple of years, but really getting into a premise and trying to milk it for all it's worth, and I don't always do that. And I've had people tell me that premise could be 5 more jokes. I'm maybe it's because I think I might have ADD, or maybe it's just because it's just me. I don't know, but sometimes I just got to move on. I sometimes a lot of stand-ups will segue in between their jokes. Sometimes I do that, and sometimes I literally will just shout out the next subject, okay, that was about McDonald's, now we're talking about Castro, and just just let people know that there's no rhyme or reason to this, at least not subject-wise, So.
For some reason, I'm obsessed with segues. I can't, that's my favorite part of my joke is the I'll write a whole joke to write a good segue.
You love riding segues. You like the balance and the 2 wheels, the handle, and just fuck walking, right? You want to ride a Segway.
Fuck walking, dude.
Crazily enough, I don't have any transitions at all. I'm a very boom, boom, boom comedian, so I completely feel the opposite way about segues and Skylar. I really like the, rhythm. I call it rhythm when I talk about it.
Well, so do you do one-linery kind of stuff, or?
Yeah, that's usually the kind of. I try to do one-linery, but then, recently I've kind of had the same mentality where I've wanted to milk the joke for a little bit more, so I've tried to add more and more tags to my jokes. So I would say I'm a one-liner with very little skill in being able to expand premises. I can go for maybe 3 tags.
Well, and you said you've only been doing it for a couple of years, you said?
We've only been doing it for, I've been doing it for 9 months. Skylar just hit his year mark.
Okay,
Yeah.
When I started out, I was telling stories, and now yesterday I was doing stand-up in a wrestling ring, and
that's awesome.
You do.
Yeah.
And
that's a normal Sunday, dude.
Right. Yep. Every Sunday, and I was I kind of talked more about I don't know, social political kind of stuff. I have some bits about the transgender nightmare.
Yeah, see, I do the story
the bathroom
comedy
shit.
like that as well.
Okay. Well, yeah, I started out telling just stories kind of from my childhood and about growing up and stuff, but I've kind of since morphed into a lot of different things. And, I have a kid, so I've written more material about parenting and relationships. I mean, when you get older, you actually have shit happen that you can write about. So that's kind of part of what's happening.
That makes sense, though.
When you first started out, were you wary at all of the level of extremism of your content in terms of offending people?
No, because when I started doing stand-up, we had just... Where was this? Okay. So almost exactly 10 years ago, we started shooting season 1 for Fuse. Like, it was summer 2006. So we stopped shooting that in the fall, and then we, started putting it together, and then we went on a tour. And on the tour, I started thinking, like, I should do stand-up because I'm going to have a lot of free time, like more free time because I was able to do the show for a living. And so, we still had to write and put together a show, and it still is a whole year process, but I still had a lot more free time. So I'm like, well, maybe I should start trying to do stand-up. And so I just started kind of going up at places. And, at that point, Whitest Kids was already a known thing. We were on TV. We had been performing in New York for a while already. So people knew me, so it was really easy to get shows. I almost feel like I cheated sometimes. Like, I didn't have to grind all the mics and meet people first. I still went to open mics, but I could also just, like, call my friend who booked a popular show and just get on it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, so I just kind of started doing it, and
that's amazing.
I've never been someone who I think can say I did stand-up full-time. Like, I've never done it full-time. I'm trying to make some moves in the future that maybe I could, but, it's never been something that I've been able to do all the time. Because, like, when I was doing Whitest Kids, I had to focus on that way more than stand-up, and then I'd have kind of off seasons where I could focus more on that. But then I, got married and moved around the country and stuff, and had a kid, and then had to get a regular job. So I've never been able to, like, really do it all the time. But I've also been doing it 10 years, so I feel like I'm kind of good at it, So.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Let's say you could beat us in last comic standing. I think that's a given.
What?
I said let's say you could beat us in last comic standing. I'd say that's a given.
I don't know, man. I haven't seen your stuff. I never call it till I see it, man. I have seen, talk about one-liner people. When I lived in Portland, Oregon for a couple of years, there was this kid who was 19 at the time and wrote the best goddamn one-liners I've ever heard. And he would blush if he heard me say goddamn because he was super religious, and I think he quit because, like, for reasons tied to his religion. But he wrote some amazing one-liners, and his name was Tim Hammer. Tim, if you're still out there, dude, like, come be my partner. What? I don't know. But anyways.
Yeah, right? No joke. Yeah. Shout out to Tim, dude.
Well, the point is, like, some people step right on and suddenly have that thing. And this guy was extremely quirky and very, very different from anyone I'd ever seen. So he just kind of had this weird thing right away. And, of course, he still needed practice and refinement and had plenty of things that didn't work about him. But, he had something that stepped right out the gate. So what I'm trying to say is that you do need experience, but I'm not going to right out say that I could beat you at a contest until I have seen you. I need to know my opponents, boys. I'm going to be like Apollo watching tapes of Rocky, or whatever that was.
He's about to go view the competition.
Yeah, I'll come spy on you.
Belichick it from the.
Didn't
he get caught?
And if I think you're too good, I'll hire a man to break your kneecaps like Nancy Kerrigan.
There you go. That's all. Who? I'm trying to think of like a good question because modern day comics. Like, who would you like? Do you have like any big fan? Are you big fans of like any like comics that are like finally starting to like blow up nowadays?
Oh yeah, there's so many good ones. I mean, we live in a great time. Some people say, "Oh, the bubble might burst," but I don't know. There are so many good stand-up comedians right now. They're all over the place.
Netflix is really helping it out. They're putting out special after special.
Tons of specials. There's lots of good labels putting out records. It's easy to get a record, or not easy to get a record, but it's easier to get a record now. So it's cool. Favorite modern guys, I guess the bigger ones people already know, like Kyle Kinane, Hannibal Buress, Ron Funches, and then there's
all of those are great.
Up-and-comers that people may not even know about, like this guy's a friend of mine, but every time I see his stand-up, I'm just blown away. Zach Peterson out of Chicago, he's originally from Nebraska, but lives there. I fucking love his stand-up so much. We've gone on tour together a couple times, and he's just a good dude. Trying to think, I just spent a weekend watching, like, fucking 98 comedians. So,
wow.
I don't even know if it's 98, but it's a lot. Like, I saw lots and lots and lots and lots of stand-up.
Like comedy overload?
Oh, definitely. Like, my brain is totally fried. So, but yeah, there are just a lot of good ones out there. And they're all over the country, and it's getting easier to kind of, like, you know, it's slowly getting easier to start comedy scenes in different cities that aren't, you know, LA, New York, Chicago, you know. So
we've tried very hard in ours, in our little small town of 200,000. 200,000.
Okay, so I live in a town that's a tenth that size.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so suck it with your small town definition.
Well, we're like a city with a small town mentality. It's really there's no
get a rope kind of mentality, or
the only thing that you can do here is you can either eat or get drunk. That's it. And then
that's kind of my town too.
We have like one open mic every other week.
Oh, see, yeah, where I live, I mean, there is no comedy scene. I am the comedy scene here, and you know, I'm not good at putting on shows, so there's no regular thing going on. But a guy that is originally from here moved to San Diego for a while and came back. Dan Bublitz, he lives not in this town, but nearby in South Dakota, and so he and with me kind of helping are teaming up with a venue here to try and start kind of a semi-regular comedy, you know, weekend, like a weekend once a month or once every 2 months. And,
yeah, that'd be awesome.
You know, it's just hard in a small town to get people to come out and see comedians that have sleeves on their shirts, you know? So,
yeah. That's pretty
And,
funny.
I mean, I don't have any sleeveless shirts. I like my sleeves because I'm very self-conscious about my biceps, you know?
So, you say it's been 10 years since you... I didn't hear if you started or finished filming the first season of Whitest Kids U Know. Do you still talk to everyone?
Oh yeah. It's been, I would say I know we started pre-production in like April or May of 2006. So I would say it's been almost exactly 10 years since we started shooting, and I want to say we started in the middle of June. Yeah, and yes, absolutely, I still talk to everybody on
That's
a
awesome.
pretty, you know, fairly regular basis. Every month or two, I'll shoot the guys text and say how you doing and stuff. And we have every intention to get together and do things again. It's just about, you know, we have 3 of us in LA, me in South Dakota, and then another guy over on the East Coast still. And so it's like we're, you know, trying to figure out what's the best way to get everyone together. Because, you know, when we started, we were in our mid-20s, which is kind of like still being kids. I mean, you know, we had our own places and bank accounts, but we were still kind of immature in a lot of ways, I think. And so we, you know, did this TV show, and it was great. And then afterwards, we kind of all grew up. People were getting married, having kids, you know, so we've all kind of been focusing on, some of us have been focusing on that kind of stuff and focusing on solo careers of different kinds. And so, you know, but we all still like each other and still want to work together, and we want to do more something with Whitest Kids.
That's awesome.
Say what that is, but
Would
yeah,
you guys,
I mean, we want to finish a movie. We would like to do more sketches, you know. I don't know if we'll ever do a full-on sketch TV show again, but we would like
You
to
should see
do
his
some kind
face.
of... I am 100,000,000% in favor of fanboys and people coming up and saying hi to me if they like the show or whatever, you know. I mean, I have my parts of my life that I keep private, but if people see me or drop me a message on my Facebook page or whatever, like, I try and give back. I try and say hi to people, and because you know, obviously I got to do all that shit because people liked it. So.
Well, yeah. See, I love the show, but this kid loves the show. I love it, but
what's available on the Whitest Kids U Know YouTube, I've seen about 4 times over.
Yeah.
Easy.
And that includes all of Trevor's new stuff on Drunk Text to Myself and High in Church.
Okay.
A fanboy, because I messed up when I met Tom Segura.
Yeah, they like you, say, oh, thank you, you know.
Right.
And it's like, you hear about people that are mean to their fans, and I just don't really, because you're in a bad mood, because they don't know what just happened in your life. Maybe why you would want to maybe be like you, so you should, you know, facilitate that and be nice to them.
Yeah, they would have said something cooler, you know.
Yeah. Go with your gut, I'd say. And I'm someone who climbs up around people I admire even still. And, you know.
I bought tickets to go to that show, and I live in Texas, and it was in Oklahoma. And I bought the tickets before I even had a car. I was like, I'll rent it. I'll rent one. I don't care.
That's dedication.
Say that again?
I said, wow, that's dedication.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, he's one of my biggest influences, I would say, for sure, in comedy. Tom Segura, Bill Burr, and then, like, Doug Stanhope, George Carlin.
Sure.
Yeah.
I opened for a stand-up guy.
Dude,
he's a really cool guy.
He is literally my hero.
Now, he's a guy, I have a lot of weird things in common with him, and we kind of talked about it, because, like, you know, he had a really huge, awesome career, and he still does, but at one point he moved into the middle of nowhere in Arizona?
Yeah, Bisbee.
Yeah, and so he doesn't get to try new material all the time either. Like, I literally can only get on stage, like, a couple times a month, you know?
Yeah.
And so, I'll still, you know, I don't write as much as I do if I were able to perform every night or do open mics every night. But I still will write new things, and then, like, I'll write something and sometimes not be able to try it for a whole month, you know? So it's like, it's a different kind of thing. But I had a good time performing with him because we were both kind of on the page about that.
Right. Well, like that, I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I don't know why I gravitated towards him as like a hero in comedy, but like I'm buying his new book, Digging Up Mother. I think it's just how honest he is as a human being. You're just like, dude, that's what's up.
Is that like an autobiography or what is that?
I haven't read anything on it yet. I just saw that he put out a book.
Yeah, that's all I know too. We're very uninformed about that, but you know.
That's
it's
awesome.
Okay.
And would you guys ever consider like coming back like David or Mr. Show, I think it was called, like they came back on Netflix? Would you guys ever consider doing another season or two?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever do a full-on season like we did, but I mean, like what those guys did, and I really liked the new stuff. What they did with Bob and David, they did like 4 episodes or something, and like they didn't do very many. And so
I think they did 6.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it wasn't a bunch.
I wasn't old enough to watch the original, and therefore the newer one was more current, and that's when I started being a fan of Bob Odenkirk.
You always make me feel so old, dude.
Well, I mean, yeah, that is, I mean, we have talked about doing things. I don't know if we brought up that exact example, but we have absolutely talked about, you know, doing some sort of small mini series of sketches or something like that. So, and again, none of that is concrete. Nothing is for sure. You know, none of it has been talked about much. Just kind of shooting the breeze over phone conversations. But you know, we do want to do something again. And you know, we will. There's this screenplay idea we've been kicking around for years, and we'll eventually finish that and try and do that. And then you know, we do want to do sketch stuff again at some point in some form as well. And there's just so many ways to do it now. It's like. I mean, shit, man, I have a Twitch, you know, I video game on Twitch. People can watch and play video games on Twitch. And sometimes I do weird little things on that, like where I'll stop the game and, like, read a bedtime story or bake cookies or, you know, just do little weird things. Not all the time, but, like, every once in a while.
And that's on...
Yeah, so even that, I'm not saying we would do a Whitest Kids show on Twitch, but I'm saying, like, there's just so many different ways to be funny on the internet now and get your shit out there that we definitely want to do something again, you know, so...
And how can people find you on Twitch?
Timmy John Williams, all one word.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm going to have to look that up for sure.
You should. I do, like, Tuesdays, what do I do? Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, generally. So.
That's awesome, man. What games do you play on there?
Oh, let's see. Well, someone gave me a generous donation, so now I'm going to play Overwatch this week.
Oh, nice.
But I've also been playing the new Doom a lot. It's actually loading up on my TV right now. You may even be able to hear the loading music behind. So. As soon as we're done, I'm hanging up. I'm playing Doom.
I'm a little too poor to pick it up now, but I've heard really good things about the new Doom.
Yeah, well, I grew up playing the original too, and this has all the feelings of that. I think they really nailed the feeling of like running around, and it's not like other modern shooters where you can hide behind things and reload and take your time. You have to book your ass and rip people's guts out. So it's pretty fun.
What are you playing on?
Xbox One.
Xbox One. All right.
I know. I get that a lot. I feel like the PS4 has it won the battle this generation?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
The
only reason we say that is me and him were having a silent debate over which console you use, and I was like, no, he's got to use the PC. That's what everyone uses these days. And you said that, and I was like, no way.
But
Yeah.
I have an Xbox One and a PlayStation 4, and I mean, I keep my Xbox in the living room, my PlayStation 4 in the bed. I actually have the PS3 in the living room because I play it more than my PlayStation 4. So I would say Xbox won the battle, if it were my opinion.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I did because I don't have a PlayStation. But yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
I love Halo too much. I think is what it is. Halo 5.
Oh yeah, you know, I played Halo 3 and I really liked it. I got Halo 4 and got I don't know, maybe fourth or a third of the way through the game, and I was like, you know what? This is too hard for me. I am too old to get this frustrated at video games anymore. And now I've gotten that frustrated with the Doom games a little bit, but I'm such like a, you know, the nostalgia is hitting me so hard with this game that it doesn't make me that mad, you know?
That makes sense.
But there's a few levels that are so hard that I'm like, God, fuck, you know, that kind of thing. But it's okay. But with Halo, it wasn't okay because I have no emotional connection to it. So it's like, why am I doing this? You know?
Right. That makes sense. Because I get really
it's
fucking
like,
mad
it's
at
like
games.
being in a relationship. It's like if you're just yelling all the time and there's no benefit, then you fucking take that girlfriend back to GameStop. You know? But if you know, if the lows are.
We're sorry, Skylar's very susceptible to girlfriend humor.
But you know, but with Doom is like a lasting, loving marriage where sometimes I yell at it, but then sometimes it's just orgasmic. So you know, it's I say fuck yeah more than fuck you. So that's how Doom works. And I guess I'm just looking for that Doom reboot kind of lady out there. So
That's
you know,
awesome.
If you feel like you're a Doom, that if you are like a Doom reboot as a person, definitely hit me up on Tinder.
That's amazing, dude. That's funny.
I don't know.
Oh.
I'll let some of the girls I know that Timmy Williams is open if you like the remake of Doom.
And apparently he's on Twitter. Or not Twitter, Tinder.
No, I was for a little bit, and I got off it. So out here in South Dakota, there's hardly anyone even on it. Yeah, I mean, it's a very small town, so it's actually mostly I get lots of connections from these hot women, and it's all fake accounts, right? So, but I would start messaging them back just for fun, and they would never write back. But it'd be fun to just send an anonymous, strange message to this computer program, and you know.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, but yeah, so no, I'm not on Tinder anymore. I made a Tinder joke once around Valentine's Day, and two very, I don't know, very smart Whitest Kids fans found me and created an account when the profile picture was just Grimace. And so when it showed up on my Tinder, I swiped right. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to talk to someone who has the balls to put Grimace instead of like a hot picture, you know what I mean? So then I actually hit them up, and I actually became friends with those people. Because eventually they were like, we're just Whitest Kids fans that are pranking you. I'm like, okay. But we became friends, and now they show up on my Twitch stream, and they're like regular Twitch chatters. You
That's
know?
like a long con kind of thing for them.
It really is. They could still be pulling something. I don't know.
That takes some
eventually I'll just wake
thought.
up in a box in Mexico, you know, and I don't know.
that takes some commitment, like, or even just doing it, going for like he might see it.
Yeah, right. And it just, well, you know, but the thing is I'm a single dad. I live in a place by myself, just with my kids. So when she's asleep, I'm just kind of hanging out. You know, I don't really tend to have a lot of people come over or anything, so I'm just kind of here. And so yeah, I was just checking my phone, and they came in. I'm like, well, I obviously have to talk to whoever the fuck Grimace is, you know? Because they were like, we figured you wouldn't talk to us because it was a Grimace picture. I'm like, no, that is why I struck no conversation, because, like, you know, I'm not interested in using Tinder for actual sexual, you know, endeavors, because it's kind of gross and weird to me still. But I was like, I like that you had the balls to do that, so let's be friends. That's kind of what happened.
That's amazing. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
They kind of give, like, it's like how, like, now I want to figure out, like, is there, like, anybody else fake following you? Like to just try to, like, hit you up?
Yeah, who knows, man? I try not to let things make me paranoid, but you never know. So, I don't know.
I don't know what, one day I think I finished watching the 4th season of WKUK with my girlfriend who had just finished the first time, and I saw the names on the credit screen for like the 3,000th time at least, and I looked at the names and I said, I think I'm going to try and find these guys on Facebook, and so I spent the next 45 minutes searching for you guys. You were the first one who messaged me back, so congrats on that.
Okay. Well, there you go. Thank you.
He meant to say thank you on that. That's what he meant to say.
Well, in my current life situation, I have a day job, and I work at an office, and so I'm in front of a computer. I hope my boss isn't listening because I do have Facebook on a lot. So when people hit me, I'm not on there all day. I do work, just in case she's listening. But I have it up so, like, if something pops up, I can see it and respond to it. What really got me, or really infuriated me recently about Facebook was, I just talked to you a little bit ago, got on my soapbox about being nice to fans and talking to fans and communicating with fans, and then I found out about this filtered message shit that I had no idea existed. I had no idea there was a filtered messages folder on Facebook. So then I go in there, and there's, like, no shit, like hundreds of messages from, like, 5 years worth of people trying to talk to me, and I had no idea, I even missed out on some, like, stand-up gigs. Now, obviously those people maybe should have tried another way if they really wanted to hire me for something. But, at the same time, like, I missed out on all these messages. I missed out on work. It was like, God damn it, I wish I would have known this existed.
I didn't even know it existed. Till just
now. Instead of a fan page, I have a regular Facebook page, which means I can only have 5,000 people. So there's always people trying to, like, friend request me, and it's often filled up, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to put it. But, so I have a second Facebook page, but not everybody knows. It's called Williams Timmy, and so people go there, too. But, so anyway, so I get a lot of messages from people that I'm not friends with, and then it puts it in this filtered file and never see it unless I remember to look, which is just a long shot on me remembering to do something. So...
Well, thank you very much.
Brain is mush.
I mean,
no problem.
The opportunity just to have somebody like you even look at a message from me is awesome.
Well, I like to. I don't know. I like to do interviews, and I like to, meet and in any way do things with people up and coming and trying to make their own comedy thing happen. So.
Well, man,
right now America has a lot of good little scenes popping up, and I'm all about it. So I like to talk to
really appreciate it, man.
No problem.
If you didn't know, the group...
I'll send you a bill. Your bill is in the mail, and there's a lot of zeros. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, no joke, right?
Yeah. Okay, that was a joke. Sure. You're gonna hear from my lawyers.
Well, you should. Okay, just so you know, the group name is Yellow City Comedy. You can find us. We have the podcast if you want to look it up. Hopefully everything went well with our setup.
Oh no, no, dude, this is all good, and everything is usable. You don't have to worry about it. So.
Oh, awesome. And so you can look it up under the Yellow City Comedy Podcast, or we're also gonna put it on the Yellow City Comedy YouTube. I was just letting them know.
Okay.
I think we just have like a couple more questions. I know you're getting tired.
No, that's all good.
I just have a couple more questions that I had to make sure that I asked you about, and the very first question I thought of asking you is, what is your favorite sketch of all of the sketches that you did? And then maybe there's one that you had more fun filming than you actually did watching it. So I mean, there could be two answers to this question.
Well, my answer is I hate that question because I don't actually hate that question, but what I'm trying to say is there are so many sketches that I just have a problem remembering everything. And so my answer changes, by the minute, by the day, whatever, But I have a lot of favorite things. Generally, when people ask me this, just anything that is super silly and maybe has plays on words, I'm always into that dumb shit. I love the submarine sandwich sketch from the first season. I love the whale tail sketch from the second season. I love the earthquake sketch from the third season. Fourth season, let's say confetti. And fifth season, I am partial to the time travel sketch where it's just me in a chair, because I wrote and directed that one all by myself pretty much. So that was kind of fun to Like, I wrote it, and, like, that was one of the only things that was the only thing I wrote that had no other person's input.
Well, when I saw that, and that was just recently that I did see that, because I found it on YouTube, but I wondered to myself, I was like, did they just give Timmy a camera and let him go home with it?
Well, that was the intended feeling, just like with Timmy Talk from whatever season that was, I think season 4. And, that was my intended feel, and like it really. I think there's a joke in the sketch that I'm shooting while everyone else is at lunch, but I think that's actually what we did, because I said, it didn't really involve anything except just having a camera on and me standing there. So I technically directed it, but I mean, really, there wasn't much to, as long as all I did was look at the frame the first time and be like, okay, good, and then kind of went from there. And Zach helped out with some of the other directorial duties while I had to be standing in front of the camera. So it was kind of me and Zach did it, and just the other crew members that were there. But it was just like a little light sketch that I just kind of did by myself, and I was really happy with it. So that's one of my favorites, and again, it's just a dumb, thinking it's clever kind of sketch. So yeah, but I mean, again, the answer changes all the time because I'm proud of a lot of the things that we did. So.
As you should be, man. It's a funny show.
I don't think I could pick a favorite.
Yeah, it's hard. But as far as, ones that are fun to make, for me, I think this is the answer I normally give for this question because it is true. Okay, so it's not really a full sketch, but there's a sketch from season 3 or 4, I want to say season 4, where we're trying to improve our ratings. So it starts out with like
that's my
girl
favorite.
threatening to show her boobs.
I gotta say, I didn't even see that uncensored the first time I saw it because I saw it on YouTube, and you guys did that purposefully.
Oh, yeah, this one didn't have boobs. Yeah. This one you don't actually see her boobs. But then the second part cuts to a fake Saturday Night Live intro where I play every actor. Okay, so look that one up. I think it's called, I don't know what it's called. You can probably just look at Whitest Kids SNL for that part, but then there was another part. The first part is about how we're trying to improve our ratings, so we're pretending there's all these suspenseful things happening, even though none of them are really happening. And then it cuts to this SNL thing, and I'm playing, 8 or 10 different characters. And so that was fun to shoot because it was just go put on a weird costume, get in front of the camera, and just turn around, and then go put on another costume, do it again. So.
Did you guys ever have a problem with the breaking on while filming? Breaking character?
I would say the worst offenders of that are me and Zach together. I don't know why, but there's a big, the famous there's 2 Lincoln sketches on season 1. There's the one that gets millions of hits and people love it, and there's another Lincoln sketch where you see Lincoln and his wife in the booth, and I play his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln. For some reason, every part of that sketch where we had to look at each other, Zach and I would just crack up. We just couldn't handle it.
Right.
And then there's a part from Civil War on Drugs where I think I'm a Union soldier and Zach's a Union soldier, and we're doing this code to each other to identify each other, and the code is extremely homoerotic, and we get really, really, really close to each other, like a half inch away from each other's faces. We're saying all this homoerotic shit, and that took a while to shoot just because we kept laughing, So, that kind of stuff. But then there's another sketch where Darren and I literally had to make out, and I think we banged that out right away. I don't think we laughed at all. It depends, even though it is a funny thing to have to do, and now I'm going to make out with my friend for the
Take
show.
one and done.
Yeah. I think I asked to do it 2 or 3 more times. They wouldn't let us. So.
You're like, but I really want to get into this.
Well, I mean, Darren's a very attractive man, so it's hard to pass that up.
He's actually the only one I haven't been able to find on social media other than Twitter, of course.
He kind of went underground a little bit, especially on Facebook. So I think if you do look up a Darren Termuter, it's not him. It's possibly his dad. So, But
he gets all kinds of fan mail every day. He's like, what is going on?
He probably does. I bet he does by accident, But yeah, no, Darren went off there a little while ago, and, he wants to be a little more private about things, and that's, that's perfectly cool.
Absolutely.
So, and I have, what I've tried to do is, because I also, I have a kid, and I don't want to share her that much without her being okay with it because she's young. And so I do kind of try and keep her a little more in the shadows.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so there's other social media accounts out there that are just for me to share her with my family members, you know. So
Absolutely.
everyone tries to find their own way to like interact with fans, but also still be private when they need to be, you know.
Yeah,
so.
that makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah.
Speaking
well, you know what? Some of you guys might be creeps. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You might both be creeps.
We haven't even actually been recording this phone call. We've just wanted to talk to you.
It's for our guilty pleasures, Timmy.
That is super weird.
No, we do really appreciate you taking out your time to do this with us, man.
No problem.
I'd love to get all 5 of you guys eventually. That's kind of my goal right now in terms of celebrity guests, is to get all 5 of the members, separately of course, to interview on our podcast, which would be amazing.
Well, keep hitting them up, and I will let them know that you guys are cool.
All right, man. We really appreciate it. We'll let you get back to maybe play some Doom.
Yeah. So you're still recording though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I just want to say one thing. I did this whole interview wearing only a t-shirt, and you can take that as far as you want to.
That's awesome. So did we.
I haven't been in my apartment for like 3 days. I'm super tired. You know, drank too much and didn't eat enough over the weekend, so I'm just kind of sore. And I spent all the day with my kid after that. I got home and I just like taking off my pants and my underwear. And these kids don't need to know about it. Oh wait, maybe I should tell them.
We'll do it at the yeah. We'll tell them at the end.
I'm pretty sure I've done interviews with like newspapers and shit completely nude. So you know, whatever. At least I'm wearing a shirt.
Yeah, right. What kind of shirt is
there
it?
There you go. It's a purple shirt. Wow, now we're getting kinky. It's a purple shirt. Just a t-shirt, a purple t-shirt. I love the color purple, and it says Del Rapids T-ball. It's a thrift store shirt for a T-ball team from
You
a different
fulfilled
town
my
nearby.
lifelong dream of being able to say that I asked Timmy Williams what he was wearing.
Well, we're gonna make sure to
Dodge
leave this
Jackson.
interview on the weirdest note possible.
Good. No, I'm glad. Please do.
Are there any places that we can find some of your new work online or anything?
Yeah, so I'm not working with them anymore, but for the last year I wrote a bunch of stuff for techtimes.com. That's techtimes.com. So a lot of fun, silly articles and columns there. I also am on Twitch at Timmy John Williams. I'm on Twitter at Timmy is a Nerd. And then I actually am in a movie. I don't have a huge part, but there's this little indie movie from San Antonio, actually. It's a superhero film called Now Hiring. We shot it a couple years ago, but it's finally out. You can buy it at Best Buy. And it's also on Vudu. That's like a video service. So, VUDU. Yeah, it's called Now Hiring. Again, I play a weird, long-haired, silly cop, and I'm only in it for a few minutes, but I have, I do have nudity, so, So those hardcore baked beans and Timmy Dance fans won't be disappointed.
So that's why you did the whole interview without pants, was to promote the new film.
It sounds like you're really in your essence when you don't have pants on.
Yeah, it's kind of part of my deal, I guess. I don't know. Nudity has always been a weird corner of my existence, I suppose. So anyways, but yeah, so that's, that was a little tiny film, and everybody involved, like, put in lots of hours, and, no one's getting rich off it, but it was just really a passion project, and it was awesome. It's a fun little movie called Now Hiring. It's just an original superhero comedy, and it's worth checking out. So find it at Best Buy or Vudu, and I love supporting. Like I said, I like supporting indie comedy scenes and also obviously indie film scenes. And San Antonio has a pretty cool genre film scene. There's a lot of little action movies and horror movies and stuff being made there, so
that's awesome.
And you guys are how far away from there? Like 6 hours, probably.
Yeah, roughly 7, maybe.
I think it's more closer to 8.
Oh, really?
It's 6 hours from here to Dallas.
Right, because you guys are way north, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty much part of Oklahoma. This high up in Texas.
Okay, cool. Well,
if the United States was more generous to the Native Americans, we might be in Oklahoma at this point.
Well, now instead of ending it on my dick, we're ending it on a sad note about the plight of the natives. So there we go.
That's how we do things around here, man.
And Hey, man, I live near a lot of residents. You don't have to tell me how bad we fuck those people over.
Right.
So, there you go.
Right, man. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If it goes great, if you wouldn't mind, we might get you on again sometime.
Hey, man, let me know. And let me know when it comes out, and I'll give you a plug.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much,
guys, you have a
Timmy.
good night.
You too. I
Yep,
really
no problem.
appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. This was fun. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. See you later.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.